with Dmitry Salita. Dmitry, good to be in your company. You've got a big fight coming up this weekend. Claressa Shields, undisputed heavyweight titles are on the line against Laila Ali. Talk to me about the fight.
Great fight week, incredible event. It's going to be a sold-out crowd. You've been there for the press conference yesterday and for the press workout today. Tonight we're at Gillies, which is a bar, restaurant, club in downtown Detroit. We have the fight crowd here, different folks from around the country, from around the world, just hanging out, eating food, drinking, having a good time, communicating. And it's really has been absolutely incredible. The lead up to this fight and the results that we've gotten. I mean, it really feels like a big fight and feels like a big event. Claressa is going to be walked into the ring by Rick Ross, a hip hop superstar, as you know. Papoose, who is Claressa's boyfriend, is going to be in the crowd, as well as many other celebrities. King Morris here. It's just phenomenal to see so much positive feedback from the fans and from the media, and especially, due to the fact that we've been putting so much effort into bringing big-time boxing to the city of Detroit, to the state of Michigan, and with Claressa. Claressa made her professional television debut here in 2017, when she was the first woman ever in the history of the sport to headline an event in America on television. And that was on Showtime at MGM Detroit, down the block. And I really feel that the gates of opportunity have opened up for women worldwide, and certainly for Claressa. And just to see, progress step by step, and to experience this weekend for the undisputed heavyweight world title, sold out arena, is really incredible.
We'll park Claressa for the moment. Let's zone in on the rest of the undercard. What can you
Sure.
expect from the Sleep Promotions talent that are also featuring on the undercard?
So, we have some of the best fighters in the world, and some of them are going to be featured on the show. Samantha Worthington, co-promoted by Claressa Shields, is the WBA #1 contender. She's fighting for the interim title at 140 pounds, and the winner of that fight is going to be in line to fight Katie Taylor. I feel like there's, a big storyline with a Claressa promoted fighter fighting Katie Taylor. Then we have Caroline Vieira, who is fighting for WBC silver belt. She, in my opinion, is the best featherweight in the world. Still getting better with each fight. Great amateur, very skilled, very well schooled. She's going to take a big step in competition and a big step in promotion and being part of the show. Then we have Bryce Taylor, an 8-0 heavyweight from Brooklyn, New York, fighting Robert Sims. As you know, I love heavyweights. And on the show, we have two of the coolest things in the sport: women's boxing and heavyweights. And Bryce Taylor, in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, may be the best American heavyweight prospect. He's fighting Robert Sims. Robert Sims has a couple of losses on his record, but if you look closely, you see that those losses were either split decisions. Some of them should have gone his way. He also beat several undefeated fighters. He's a real test and a real gatekeeper, and he's from the state of Michigan. So it's a step up for Price, and we'll see, if he'll live up to the hype. He spent a couple of weeks with Sugar Hill Stewart in Florida training for this fight. So excited about to see how that paid off, and looking forward to that fight. Also, we have Develle Smith, super middleweight prospect from the city of Detroit. Undefeated, also started training with Sugar Hill. I believe he has a big future, a lot of potential. Very important for him to have gotten away from the city of Detroit to go to training camp in Florida, which is where he's at now, training with Sugar and BB, his strength and conditioning partner. So I really believe that he'll show himself really well on Saturday night. Sardia Simmons, newly signed heavyweight to our stable, just won the National Golden Gloves, multi-time national champion, also from Michigan. I believe very talented fighter. Only his second pro fight, but he's fighting Demetrius Banks, who's a very experienced guy. We're going to move him fast because I think he's ready for it. And Leon Lawson, talented middleweight prospect from Flint. Also, the card is going to feature some local talent from different communities, because the goal has always been to to connect kind of the broken pieces of boxing in the city of Detroit. It's really one of the hubs and one of the world centers of boxing, and it's really incredible that Claressa Shields, this is going to be our third event at Little Caesars. Claressa Shields, step by step, has opened the door of opportunity for so many men and so many women, and we're going to celebrate it on July 26th.
I was at Vegas and I was doing some of the gym tours, and as I come into DLX, coming out of DLX was Skylar Lacey, who sort of stole the show a little bit. I didn't quite perform in the ring, but did you think about bringing Skylar back?
Skylar Lacey, he's a fun guy, unusual personality, which is always fun. He lost to Brandon Moore. You know, I thought it was going to be a good fight, but because both of these guys are so big, they just weren't good dance partners. Both are good fighters, but they didn't mesh well together, and it was an interesting fight. Ended with Brandon Moore winning. I do believe that Brandon, he's just coming off a big win as well. Is probably also one of the best American heavyweight prospects / contenders. Heavyweight boxing needs some new blood, and we have some of the best fighters from the United States in that division, and I think they're going to make a big play, in the coming months and next year.
Just picking that back up there with Dmitry.
Dmitry Salita here for
No, that is a liberty. That is a liberty.
Dmitry Salita here for secondshour.com, interviewing Amon Khan on his first trip to Detroit City. What is it like to experience this incredible fight night with Claressa Shields approaching a sold-out event promoted by Salita Promotions?
Well, that's what I was just about to ask you, because Claressa has done pretty much everything you have to do in the sport, but you've still been able to attract a 15,000 sold-out crowd. Did you feel that would be a tough process for a promoter who's selling someone who's completed everything in the sport?
So it's a great question, and there's many layers to the answer. And it goes back to my career as a fighter and being signed with some of the best promoters in the sport. My first one being Top Rank back in 2001 when they were rocking and rolling. So as a fighter, I got a chance to see the development of Miguel Cotto, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya being a star, Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera, and had a chance to really be around the atmosphere, fight on some of those great undercards, and be around a great company and see really how they function. So that left a really significant blueprint and helped me in my development as a promoter. That being really my first experience, making my pro debut and having all those early fights and those big events really made an impression on me. So it takes a foundation to build fighters and sell out events. Sometimes there's sensationalism, like Jake Paul and Mike Tyson is a great example. There's others, but real steady, repeated success comes when you build a foundation, and that comes from building a base for a hometown fighter. And Claressa is one of the few fighters in the United States that has a real home base, that can sell a significant amount of tickets when she fights close to home. Last time she fought in Flint. This time she's fighting in Detroit. This is the third time that she's fighting in Little Caesars Arena. And we've sold almost 3 times as many tickets as the event same time last year. So I'm very grateful that we've been able to build on success. And all those events were great, but that we were able to build on success and build on the momentum and continue to tell Claressa's story and have her resonate with fans that are folks that are boxing fans and folks that are not boxing fans. 70% of the people that bought tickets to this fight are women. And that's really incredible, because Claressa's story, like it used to be kind of back in the days when people used to relate to the fighters because of the storytelling, because they can find similarities. Claressa is that kind of fighter, and this show is the evidence is the show. And Lonnie Daniels, she's a good fighter. She's a 2-division world champion, but not too many people know who she is. So this is not a rivalry, not a big fight in terms of it, fighting another big name fighter, but it's really a Claressa show, and to sell so many tickets and to have such a significant level of popularity is really incredible.
What did you think of the July MVP show where they put on the all-female card? They're looking to also promote female fighters as well and doing their own thing. I believe you were there in attendance. What did you think of that card?
I was not there in attendance because it was on a Friday night, but I think it's great for the sport of boxing, great for women's boxing, that Jake Paul, who's a celebrity outside of the ring, is using his megaphone to promote women's boxing. I think that it elevates the sport, and just the fact that there's talk about it, and that he was a celebrity in his own right and is trying to make a name for himself in boxing, is investing time and money and resources into women's boxing. I think it's great, and I think it's great that other promotion companies besides us are invested in women's boxing, Matchroom, Golden Boy, etc. Because for the sport to grow, there need to be fighters need to have options, and there needs to be some tension between promoters in a good way to help drive the sport up. When Claressa turned pro, being the first woman to headline an event on premium cable television in the United States, really women's boxing was really under the radar, and Claressa really changed the face of the sport. She changed the sport's perception, and she opened doors for women around the world, and she raised the pay grade through her success. I know, you go on social media, and it doesn't make any sense to me, but a lot of people, fight with her and articulate themselves in a less than positive way. Be that as it may, Claressa, it takes a personality who can fight the fight, meaning walk the walk, who got the skills, and who also doesn't just take things as they come, and who kind of goes against the system, who talks about injustices, who talks about equality, who says I deserve more. And when you have the skills and the ability, and you're unapologetic, that's when change happens. And many similarities to Muhammad Ali, to greats in other sports, and Claressa really fighting and fought for social justice and equality through the talent of the sport of boxing.
I'm glad you mentioned Muhammad Ali, because there's a lot of talk about Laila Ali being in the opposite corner to Claressa Shields. Is that really a fight that could happen? We saw Manny Pacquiao return last week in Vegas at a similar sort of age as Laila, but can Laila be brought back into the ring? Do you feel is it on her side where that fight doesn't come about?
Well, it's completely on her side. I mean, the only reason why this happened is because Laila talked about fighting Claressa, several times through the last 12 to 18 months. So the money's there, the venue's there, possible dates are there. If Laila really wants to make it happen, it can. So she should either start a discussion, talk about the details of the deal, or just leave it alone and say, I never want to fight again. But if it does happen, and you have to, obviously, tremendous amount of respect for what Laila accomplished in the ring, and being the daughter of one of the greatest athletes, one of the greatest humans of all time, in Muhammad Ali, who overcame the odds, who did so many incredible things inside and outside the ring, and to fight the GOAT. There's many similarities between Claressa and Muhammad Ali in terms of overcoming obstacles, kind of fighting against the grain, and paving a new way. So I believe the storytelling, and for women's fight to be the premier sporting event of the last several decades, can you imagine what they would do for women's boxing, how it would raise it, and how much eyeballs and attention and just positive energy the sport would have, it would be absolutely incredible. So there's many positives why it could happen, why it should happen. So if Laila feels up to it, we'd love to make it happen. The money's there, the venues are there, some of the most prestigious venues of boxing. Would love to make it come to fruition.
Yeah, Dmitry, I want to get your thoughts on some of the promotional sphere. We've seen a move now that sees Sky Sports Boxing exit their contract with Boxer and now be in a status where it's uncertain as to what happens in the UK. Top Rank as well too seem to have come to the conclusion of their ESPN deal. What do you think is the state of play on both sides of the coin regarding Top Rank and Boxer?
Well, they're really different companies, and it's hard to make a comparison between Top Rank, who's been a giant and a dominant force in the sport of boxing for 5 generations, to Boxer, who's relatively new in the game. But to talk about, Sky, I grew up watching Sky, and Claressa Shields for Savannah Marshall on Sky. So it's obviously a great broadcaster for the sport of boxing. And as a boxing fan, I hope they stay in the sport. I hope they stay in the space because it only makes the sport go bigger and wider. And from what I understand, Sky has many different channels, the premier storyteller and sports network in the UK. So we'd love to see him stay in the sport. As it relates to Top Rank, Bob Arum is one of the GOATs of boxing promotion. He has survived the test of time many times over. And I say that at 94 years old, he's still amazing. I believe if he was 25 years younger, he would be number one. And 25 years younger, he's 70 years old. Because he's proven that he knows how to think outside the box, knows how to change with the times. So boxing is going through a big change in the United States. Showtime is out of the sport, HBO is out of the sport. It all kind of happened over the last 5-6 years. Top Rank, was the number one name in the sport for a long time. Don King, although kind of not so significant for the last 10-15 years, but they're out, and they and the foundation of boxing in the United States initially in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s was built by those two companies. So the fact that they're out and the big broadcasters are out, and the way we as fans kind of watch and internalize sports and entertainment has also changed. In social media, DAZN is doing a fantastic job. They're the number one broadcaster of boxing in the United States by far, doing these great events. So the sport is changing, and at the end of the day, I believe it's about talent and about putting together good events and making great fights. So we'll see how it goes.
There was a huge event in the UK last weekend in the form of Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois. There's been a lot of fallout from that fight, including the revelation that Daniel Dubois had a pre-fight party heading into the fight with Alexander Usyk. Just your thoughts on that happening. Have you ever had the experience of that? Did you ever engage in a pre-fight party for one of your fights?
No, I was always very serious about boxing, and it was very difficult for me to get in good shape, and I had to be very focused and watch what I eat and go to sleep at the right time and try to be as disciplined as I can to be able to compete at a high level. But to me, knowing his trainer, I don't really know Daniel, but seems to be he's a pretty disciplined guy. So I'd be surprised if he partied the day before the fight. But whatever it is, if he did party or he didn't party, Alexander Usyk is a great fighter, an absolute all-time great. And what he did, fight after fight after fight after fight, from cruiserweight to heavyweight, is absolutely incredible. And he's one of the greatest to ever do it.
What do you think about Manny Pacquiao's return to the ring at 46? Controversy surrounding the draw. If you watched it, did you feel that he deserved the draw or more?
I feel that he won the fight, but it's there are certain people like George Foreman, like Manny Pacquiao, that like Bernard Hopkins, that define time and inspire us to keep going and make us believe that anything is possible. And Manny Pacquiao is one of the greatest athletes of all time, an inspiration to his countrymen. Maybe we'll be president one day. So it's really incredible to see him compete at the highest level, 46 years old.
I was at the IBA convention over in Turkey, and Jarrell Miller was there. He never fails to take an opportunity to take a swipe at you.
Sure.
What is the current relationship or standing with yourself and Jarrell?
I can only talk about the facts. Facts are that we worked with Jarrell since the beginning of his career and have given him tremendous amount of opportunities, from Showtime to HBO to The Zone to finding Anthony Joshua, doing a deal with ESPN when he failed the drug test and that didn't happen. So Jarrell has a great personality. He's a talented fighter, and when Jarrell fought for me, he wasn't signed to me. He fought on my shows when I kind of just early in my career as a promoter, because I know Jarrell from training camps. He used to go with me, and his trainer used to ask me if he could stay in camp because so he could stay away from the city, no problem. And then he turned pro. And I was hosting events, and to me, in those days, Jarrell was the best unsigned prospect in boxing. So I said, Jarrell, you gotta stay busy. Let me give you some activity when I can. So he kept fighting on my show. I said, Jarrell, and we were doing it at some club show in the city, maybe a mile or so away from Madison Square Garden. I said, Jarrell, one day, I believe you're gonna be heavyweight champ. You're gonna fight Madison Square Garden. It was his second or third or fourth fight. And then when we were sitting at the Garden together for the Anthony Joshua press conference, I said, Jarrell, that's pretty incredible, man, right? You fought at Roseland Ballroom just, 6-7 years ago. Now you're fighting for the unified heavyweight world title in the most iconic arena in the sport. And he said yes, and we talked and we reminisced, and we hugged and had a good conversation. And then, unfortunately, he failed the drug test. And that was a career high payday for Jarrell. Throughout that time, Jarrell also took swipes at me. I'm not sure why. I'm actually never sure why. And then we did a deal with Top Ring and ESPN, also for career high paydays, obviously not as good as Anthony Joshua. And unfortunately, he failed the drug test again. And then he got suspended for a significant amount of time. When we got suspended, he came back. He was after COVID. We paid for a couple of fights because no broadcaster wanted to put him on. Got him a couple of wins, and then knocked on doors, and knocked. Got him an opportunity to fight Daniel Dubois, and unfortunately didn't go our way. And then after that fight, there was an incident with a stolen car, something like that.
Yeah.
And spoke to Jarrell, spoke to his family, helped where we could, and we were okay. And then it kind of went off the rails again. So, sometimes you have to go by the facts and by the numbers, and by actual events. So, we had a contract that was very transparent, that was renegotiated to make Jarrell feel good about where he was at, terms that he wanted. Jarrell had the best lawyers in the sport represent them, some of the most experienced and the most knowledgeable, and they either quit or they actually just quit because we didn't do anything wrong. So you can say an opinion. You can say, I don't like the jacket you wear. I don't like your shoes. Whatever. But the facts are the facts, and the facts are that we delivered on what I was supposed to deliver on as a promoter, and he was upset, and different people maybe started talking. I don't really want to go there because it's not productive. But I've always wished Jarrell all the best, and I wish him all the best. And I believe that he still has a lot of fight left in him, and hopefully, all will be good for both of us going forward.
So would you say, if it came down to it, you would still promote Jarrell, or would it be a line you wouldn't go across anymore?
It's a complicated relationship at this point. and I don't want to comment on it because there's just so many things that happen.
Okay.
So, at my core, I'm a boxing fan, and I believe, and the reason why I felt that Jarrell had the skills to be one of the best because he was heavyweight from Brooklyn, New York. Actually, people can Google it. We're fortunate enough to have Google. When I first signed Jarrell, which was like 2014, 15, something like that, after his first fight, and I signed him, the reason why I signed him, a very small company at that time, is because no one else wanted to. Because Golden Boy, Heyman, Top Rank, no one felt that he, they probably didn't even know who he was. So when I signed him, I immediately promoted him as the best American heavyweight from Brooklyn, New York, associated with Mike Tyson and Riddick Bowe, and Jarrell's personality and his performances in the ring backed up what I was saying, and he quickly, elevated his way throughout the ranks. And shortly thereafter, all the big promoters at the time, this is 2016, 17, 18, wanted to take him away from me and that's how it all started. But I'm sorry that we're in this situation. I fulfill my obligation, but it is what it is.
Do you think you'll ever get a sorry from Jarrell?
I'm not looking for a sorry. It is what it is. I mean, I do hope that we can have a cordial relationship and kind of go back to the way things were when we were just friendly. But it is what it is, and sometimes you just have to kind of live with the reality of what it is.
Can I ask you, Dmitry, does that not put a little bit of sorrow in your heart that is the way that it is?
It does put sorrow in my heart because Jarrell, because there have been so many instances where from being in training camp when I used to fight the Poconos, Harry, Keith, who used to train both of us, asking for him to come to camp and to stay there for a couple of weeks, to fighting on my cards, to failing the drug test and helping Jarrell, find an attorney and there have been many ways, many times when we had a lot to celebrate. And I really believe the opportunity with Anthony Joshua, it didn't happen by accident. Because those that know boxing hopefully can follow it. He fought on Showtime, and Showtime was aiming for Jarrell. This is like 2016, 17, to fight Deontay Wilder, who at that time was at his peak, big puncher, very tough fight, not for a lot of money. On the other side was Anthony Joshua, who was getting ready to come to the United States. What wasn't really tested, and it was a much bigger and better opportunity for Jarrell. So when I felt it was a fight or two away from Jarrell having to fight Joshua and he would align himself with PBC and Showtime, I felt it was the right thing to align with HBO and Matchroom. And the first two shows that Matchroom did in the United States, before the Zone, they hired us to be the local promoter in New York City, and Jarrell fought on those undercards, and we've positioned him to fight Anthony Joshua. And I really believed, from a boxing point of view, and by the way, Anthony Joshua is a different fighter and different man now than he was then. And I'm a big fan of Anthony Joshua. He's a true gentleman and a great fighter and a hero of the sport. I believe that Anthony Joshua, who fought over his career in England, when he would be in the locker room in Madison Square Garden, thousands of miles away from home, fighting a guy like Jarrell Miller, who is in your face, aggressive, big guy, intimidating, that he would have second doubts. And I felt that Jarrell's physical strength and intimidation would play with Anthony's head, and that would give him the edge. Because after a fight, being in a locker room, there's many different stories. John Scully has some great lines about it. But being in a locker room is very challenging, especially when you're fighting a heavyweight world title fight thousands of miles away from home. And everybody has their safety mechanism and to deal with it. And I really believe that all the cards stacked in Jarrell's favor for that fight in Madison Square Garden. And unfortunately, Ruiz is the one that got the win. I really believe that it could have been Jarrell, but I feel that I've delivered on these opportunities with Jarrell. I really felt that he could have beaten Daniel Dubois. I really do believe so. But it is what it is, and again, and I hope that one day there could be a cordial relationship, and we can move past whatever it is.
Are you going through the same thing with Jermaine Franklin? What's the situation with him?
Oh no, Jermaine and I are good.
Okay.
There's going to be a big announcement in the coming days, and you'll read about it. I can't talk about it, but there's going to be some big news.
Saturday?
Big news. I can't talk about it, but it's going to be big.
It's been out for a while, Jermaine, right?
Jermaine has some issues. He's fought for us twice after the fight with Anthony Joshua, and he had some personal issues that he had to deal with. He's back on track, and some big news coming soon.
Will he be against a Brit?
No.
Okay. Can't tell us anything more.
I can tell you he's going to be in the United States.
Okay. Against maybe Deontay Wilder, potentially?
Not Deontay Wilder.
Okay.
I can't say anymore.
Jared Anderson?
Not against Jared Anderson, but it's going to be a big news, big opportunity for Jermaine, another top American heavyweight that has shown he's got the skills to pay the bills, against Dillian White, and he did good against Anthony Joshua. I believe that he gained and grew from that fight, and you'll hear these news very soon.
Against Jarrell Miller?
No.
That's something you never entertain.
Well, it's up to the fighters to win, to build interest, and then to say yes. So we had fights in our stable between different guys, if it makes sense for both of them. But yeah.
Okay, Dmitry, I couldn't pry out of you, but I'm looking forward to that announcement. Looking forward to this weekend, of course, as well. Claressa Shields back in action against Laila Daniels. Thank you so much for speaking to Seconds Out. Much appreciated, sir.
Thank you.